we live in. And, you know, it's Black Power. Soul Train.
Sexy.
We were just so beautiful.
We were feeling ourselves.
We were. And the way we dressed, the way we were dancing.
Yeah.
Man, we were... the way we were dancing, we would get black folks to get down.
I felt like we were coming into our own after the civil rights movement, right?
Marvin was telling us what was going on. Like, he had an antenna. This album came out in 1971. I was a sophomore in high school. John Dewey High School in Coney Island. And in the library, they had turntables. So if you bought an album, they had headphones. You could put the album on and listen to it on headphones. And so I would cut class to listen to this album. This mojo right here. Timeless. Timeless.
How much do you think was influenced by his brother's involvement in Vietnam?
Marvin was getting a first-hand account of Vietnam from his brother. But then Marvin's in Detroit, the Big D. He's seen the Bloods come back on heroin, handicapped, or in coffins. The song What's Happening, Brother, that's from someone who just came back to the world. They called U.S. the world.
Hey, baby, what you know good? I'm just getting back what you do my food.
War is hell we live in.
When will people start getting together again? Things are getting better. The news ain't worrying.
This had to have influence on you.
Yeah.
Because your movies are about this. Inner City Blues, that's a Spike Lee joint.
You listen to Marvin Gaye. This album right here, he's singing to you.
So he was singing to you then, because he used in the Five Bloods.
Yes. And it still was about Bloods who were returning to Vietnam 50 years later.
You use this a cappella version.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah, Father,
My
Father.
ears like blew up. And I knew exactly the scene where it would go.
Oh, but who are they to judge us? Simply cause our hair is long.
African Americans at the height of the Vietnam War, as soon as you graduated, they snatch your black ass up, send you to boot camp, and before you just snap your fingers, your ass lived in the jungle, halfway around the world. And we were sent to the front.
I remember seeing the Vietnam War, and my cousins, my uncles, they came home, heroin, angel dust. Then people weren't saying, oh, how do we help our brothers on heroin? They were shunned.
Shunned.
They were outcasts.
Outcast.
You know we've got to fight to bring some
When these soldiers hear that song, they're saying in their mind, Marvin wrote this for me. Marvin is singing the gospel to me.
Take it nice, take it soft, punish me with brutality.
We hear it even with young folks
It's
now.
one of the anthems. What's Going On is a protest song. There's a great history of Lady Sings the Blues.
In the
Strange
summer
fruit.
breeze,
Protest song.
strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
She's talking about black people being lynched in the streets around America.
Pastoral scene.
It was unheard of for her to have that kind of song out and for people to embrace that kind of song, especially white people.
Is there some lesson? Is there some connection?
Marvin was doing the same thing, except it was how many years later? He was living in his truth. He was telling his truth, and truth is hard to tell.
Strange fruit hanging from the
You won a Golden Globe for playing Billie Holiday. What do you think the similarities do you see between Marvin Gaye and a woman like Billie Holiday?
It was revelatory. I think it was revelatory then. I think it is revelatory now. It was revelatory when I was young listening to it.
So you listened to this album growing up?
Yeah, of course. But I wasn't super aware of the lyrics. It wasn't until I got older, until I heard, and actually one of my favorite songs on the album, it is my favorite song on that album, which is Save the Children. It's a journey, you know what I mean? And when you realize what he's saying, it's sort of like, we cannot continue down this path. This is a path of destruction.
The album covered so much ground. It was representative of not just what was happening with the various soldiers that had fought in the Vietnam War, but the people that were dealing with things in life. You know, the song, what is it, Flying High?
Flying High in the Friendly Sky.
Yeah.
That was about drug heroin.
Yeah. The whole drug thing happened. You know, the depression that happened. And it's just a deep thing.
Ironically enough, Marvin's addiction is ultimately what sort of did him in and ravished his mind. So that song alone is prescient about his own personal life.
What do you think Marvin was thinking about what's going on?
So you can see what's going on.